Good evening, everybody. Once again, I have video ideas that I'm like, ooh, I should really make that. That'll help people. And then stuff happens or I forget the topic. But I remembered one today, and it's an important one for those of you dealing with or have dealt with a narcissist or a borderline or histrionic. And that is, what is, major things you deal with after no contact. Because as much as I wish it were true for myself and many of my clients and friends that once you go no contact and you're free of the narcissist, it's over. It's not. It's like the most important step, and it's the beginning of the end, but no, it's not over. The abuse doesn't simply end when you get away. Fortunately, if you are so unfortunate that your narcissist is physically abusive, yes, of course, that ends there. But I'm talking about the emotional damage, the rebuilding, the reclaiming of oneself, the understanding of who you are, and the application of your ever so important free will, which the narcissist likely captured. So, some common things that someone who was with a narcissist for a long time, be it maybe they were raised by a narcissist and that narcissist crushed their confidence and told them they had to fall in line and basically just be a sheep in a herd where they never belonged. Yeah, I'm talking about myself. But and that their dreams, which were certainly obtainable, and not only did I obtain it at 19 years old of my own merit with no help, but with people actively plotting against me. And yet I still prevailed. I'm talking about when I got hired by the Arlington County Fire Department the first time right before the recession. But no. I had to be a good old boy in the county and, do good old boy manual labor because conformity? I never really got an answer to that, and I literally pressed my mother on that till the day she died. But I digress. So, in my case, you think about this, to tell someone I was at my wit's end with being a golf course manager in 2013, how old was I at the time? 26. So at 26 years old, with a double major STEM degree, graduated with honors, I was told, no, you can't make a change. This is it. This is what you got to do for the next 40 years. It is what it is. At 26. Can you believe that? Now, I'm 37 now, to think back to tell a 26-year-old, like, whatever you're doing now, that's the rest of your life. It just is what it is. You can't change it. Everything happens for a reason and timing and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yeah. Which is why, I kind of now appreciate the fact that someone nearly killed me. Because somebody found me. Thus my path towards free will. Although, I must say, to my dear queen, all these years, me calling out the status quo and the good old boys and sacrificing my dream job in 2021 did some damage to that club, but I'm no longer and can never be a firefighter again. But I was promised I would be given what I desire most, which is unconditional love, and I can't ever seem to meet a girl my type at the right time. I mean, I so rarely meet them. It's like a once a year thing. But I never get that fair shot. It's not because of who I am or anything. It's all timing. Timing's about chance, and relationships shouldn't be about chance and timing. It should be about, chemistry and connection and attraction and lust and, emotions, things like that. Digressing again, there's my little offshoot this time. It's kind of my thing. By kinda, I mean it is. So, that is one of the key steps right there. The narcissist, even after you've left them, even after you've broken free, will have convinced you that what you want in life, be it your career, relationship, family, whatever, is unobtainable, and that your only option, you have to maintain course, maintain status quo. The very status quo that made you miserable, the very status quo that pushed you to the brink of where you needed to make a change and you didn't care if you lived or died because you couldn't take it anymore. It became as if life isn't worth living. So why would you continue down that path? Simply because some sick, twisted person told you. And remember, that path, that status quo that they led you down, that they forced you on, that they bound you to, that they beat you down to remain on, doesn't serve you. It serves them, because it's about their supply. And that could be taken into many different ways, but you continue on the path the narcissist wants you on, simply because they've convinced you that change cannot happen and that you're too inadequate to even attempt your dreams. Well, you're still a slave to their will. You can't have that. So that's the first major thing you need to be aware of after you've left the narcissist, is that self-reflection. And something I'll talk about from my own experience, self-reflection can be painful. I mean, in witchcraft, we call it shadow work. If you work with Lilith, you got to do it. You got to face the parts of yourself you don't like and face that fear and come to terms with it and integrate that into who you really are, while at the same time expressing who you really are and not giving a damn what anybody thinks. Takes some doing. So that whole, if you've been told conformity and fitting in means everything and you're living a lie and you're wearing a mask, albeit not one to deceive, but one to fit in because you're afraid of what people will think of the real you. Yeah, you need to get out of there and find other people and just say that with it and be yourself and see what happens. I do it. It's great. It's like, nah, I am who I am. Take it or leave it. So there's that. And you can't paper over this work, this shadow work, this self-reflection, this meditation, where you figure out what you want, who you are, and what you deem most important must be done. You can't paper over. Now, by paper over it, I mean, you just basically tell yourself that everything's great, that you're away from the narcissist and everything's going to work out, and it just happens. And you try to not deal with the damage done. Maybe you drink too much, or maybe you buy too many material things. You think showing off material possessions will make you whole because that'll make other people envious. That's the narcissist game. That's keeping up with the Joneses. That's their mantra of happiness equals stuff. And it can be in other forms too. Like, you could, I don't know, do what I did and, go trips and go places and be like, oh, look at all the cool shit I get to see. And, there's certain places I went where if you have like a cultural connection to or a spiritual connection, that can help with enlightenment. But if it's simply like you're chasing like, oh, look at me in this party atmosphere, again, you're trying to paper it over. You're trying to put on the facade of, look at the life I live, which, let's be honest, if you're posting pictures of parties and stuff, that's not every day. And, you don't want to, I don't think most people, including myself, don't want to party every day. It's hard on you. I'm too old for that shit. So, but you're trying to put on the facade of everything's great when really deeply, internally, emotionally, you could be a mess. And until you deal with that, you never really will be happy because, even if you try to mask emotions with powerful narcotics, there's never enough. There's never enough. And it'll never fill the hole. You could, trust me, my mother tried for 50 years. She was miserable right when she died and was doing, ungodly amounts of heroin. So there's that. Which means you have to do the work. You have to realize what you want more than anything and come up with a way to find it. And it could be a long and winding road. Your path could be darker than you ever imagined. There could be more tests along the way than you ever thought possible. I know, I'm living it. But at least you realize what's most important to you and what you all on your own truly desire of your own free will. It could be something you've known for a long time and basically were forced to push down, or were forced to tell yourself that you couldn't have it, that it was unobtainable, that you had to just go along. You don't. No, but you have to realize for yourself what it is you really want. And the other scary part, because a narcissist will destroy your sense of self, your self-esteem, your confidence, all that, because they'll make you second guess everything and make you feel inadequate all the time and diminish any accomplishments. Like even when I was, the miserable golf course manager, like I was, very successful for as young as I was. Like I was recruited right out of college to be an assistant superintendent at a top 100 level golf club that was hosting a major PGA tournament that year. And that same club sent me to 3 different other clubs, for a few weeks to prep for their tournament. And I was, a 23-year-old kid right out of college. And I was in the GCN magazine and all that shit. And a lot of guys my age now were like, why is this kid getting all this attention? What does he know? Blah, 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 blah. Just because I was a teaching assistant. I did a graduate student's job as an undergrad, and I both teaching and research assistant. Anyway, got some notoriety at my former university, which for that field is the creme de la creme for what it's worth. But where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. Though even when you're like achieving in what they want you to be achieving, and they'll diminish it and be like, no, that's not true. Like one of my narcissistic relatives, one of my aunts, was like, no, you didn't do that. You couldn't possibly have. It's like, it's on my transcript right here, And then I'm like, well, called the professor I used to work for. It's like, no, it just can't be. Because with a narcissist, if they don't want something to be true, it's just not true. But what I think is, because I just know. The narcissist, I just know. Why? Because I'm me. Well, who the fuck are you? Because in their mind, they're the greatest thing that's ever existed, particularly if they're a baby boomer, and they all enable each other, where it's like everything a baby boomer's ever done is by definition the greatest thing that's ever happened, just by virtue of them doing it, because, baby boomers were never born. They descended from the stars as the saviors, Everything culturally, historically, evolutionally, everything's been leading up to these godlike people. They're not even people. They're, the Sumerian legends of the Anunnaki. That's the baby boomers in their twisted minds. Not all of them think that way, but it is a majority. And for those of you that are baby boomers, are like, wow, it's not that many. 51% is a majority. So you really want to come at me with that, with that statement? 51% is a majority. I stand by it. But that's the kind of thing. So even if you're on the path that they want you, they will diminish it. They will make you feel like everything you have, you don't deserve. And keep in mind, when you're on the path the narcissist wants and you're full of self-doubt, you're not really that ambitious, because you're most likely, as I was, suffering from imposter syndrome. Another important point. The narcissist, even when you break free and you start to go after what you want, you'll doubt that you could truly do it, no matter what you are, your education, your experience. It could be, your looks, your charisma, your personality, and other aspects of life. That imposter syndrome will be overbearing, because the narcissist wants you to think you can't function without them, that you need them as a crutch, when in reality you were their crutch. They always try to make you think that they're doing you a favor, when in reality it is the supply they got off of you that kept them going. be it the reflection of me and keeping up with the Joneses, just pawns on a chessboard as I was, or like many of my clients, you were the trophy wife. Trophy wife. It's so fun to empower them. It really is. And a little side note message to any woman listening who was a trophy wife or a trophy girlfriend. Keep this in mind. You're most likely seeking empowerment. Yeah, and that's who you go to. But I'll just, without going too esoteric, I'll say this. The original feminist, the original rebel, the original renegade, the queen of defiance is Lilith. All Abrahamic religions acknowledge that. They vilify and demonize her, but such will the good old boys. Anyway, keep in mind she's the queen of free will. So, if you are truly seeking dark feminine energy, empowerment, and equality, you must seek free will. You can't, by definition of who Lilith is and what she stands for, and she is the OG, that's indisputable, you can't, by definition, be seeking empowerment and equality and embracing, feminine energy while relying on fate and timing, because that's anathema to Lilith, that she rejected that. Lilithans all do. I'm pretty proud of it. So keep that in mind of what your free will is and taking chances, not waiting for the right moment. The right moment never happens in anything. But taking chances is in going after something you want. Damn the consequences. Like Lilith herself choosing exile over subservience into the unknown. It's funny. It was that very moment of what Lilith did was kind of immortalized semi-recently, last decade, in a famous TV show, where a certain very beautiful English woman in a blonde wig, instead of, becoming some crone priestess confined to a temple, mourning her, Stockholm syndrome rapist husband, chose to wander in red waste. Gee, where have I seen that before? Yeah, right. But we're not going to get into, how witchcraft and, is woven covertly into more things than a non-witch would ever understand. Side note, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to mention it. Do you know there was a witchcraft temple on the Titanic? Because there was, and I'll talk about it in another video, but there definitely was. I can prove it. There's pictures. So, free will. What is it you desire? Or also, if you're seeking empowerment, again, taking a Lilithan perspective, if you're not pursuing what you desire, be it, a job, a promotion, a romantic interest, if you're not pursuing it, not taking that chance, are you truly free? Are your chains broken? Because if you're doubting yourself, you're not free. You're still bound by the narcissist who put that doubt in your mind that you can't possibly have what you want. Because the last thing a narcissist wants is for you, one, to realize who and what they really are, and to realize how much better off you are without them. And the crescendo is you realizing what you're truly capable of and what you could truly have, and that all those years they were holding you back, and that they are nothing but average down the line, and their whole existence, everything they have, is likely based on a combination of the following things: nepotism, cronyism, bravado, lies, brown-nosing, being a rat, abusing other people, stepping over other people, I already said using other people, and what am I missing? Timing, luck. Yeah. None of it actual, merit, intelligence, work ethic, charisma, empathy, none of that. Yeah. Real tangible things one can work for, that it gives off the sort of energy people feel. Because deep down, especially like in a work environment, the narcissist, like, hey, narcissist, everybody talks about you behind their back, but you're like they're usually like this rat-like that they tattletale. So everybody's afraid to like call you out because, but they know. Everybody knows. So I've rambled on for 20 minutes. I hope that was helpful. It was a bit vague and a bit esoteric, but I think it covered the main points of what you're going to face after no contact. And I had to leave it vague because, what you're looking for, that's subjective depending on who you are. But if you've recently gotten free of a narcissist, be it a boss, be it a parent, be it, an ex, guaranteed there's things you want to go after that you're afraid to. And you shouldn't be, particularly like if you know deep down who you really are. Like if you know you're very talented in your profession, you should know what you're capable of. And if you are like, say, an attractive, charismatic person, if there's somebody you think is out of your league, but yet, they're looking at you like, yeah, that's everything I'm looking for, why hold back? Yeah. What are you afraid of? Or what's another one? If you're afraid of moving away because you have to get out of a certain area, what are you afraid to leave behind? Misery, subservience, a life not worth living. So keep that in mind. Also join my Patreon and like and subscribe if you haven't. That's free. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Join my Patreon to suggest video topics if you become a member, and exclusive content that I will make when enough of you decide to be like, oh, we feel bad for this guy. We'll give him $5 a month because, he's underpaid and can't catch a break and can't catch a fair shot and everything despite trying. Anyway, I think it's this area. I gotta get out of Philly. I've been saying that for a long time. But I leave all the time and then I get thrown back. But yeah, I need a place. I need a reason to go to another place, which, like I've said since I was 18, either the right job or the right girl. Dream job that, that got me out of here once, but that bridge just collapsed by my own hand. Well, it didn't leave me. I just, you know the story. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Remember, pursue your desires. If you pursue and fail, at least you are acting of your own free will. At least you are chasing something you truly wanted and not living a life someone else wanted for you to serve them. Hail Lilith.